Okay, so now we got that first introduction post out of the way. I wanted to dive right back into something that I hear about, talked about really all the time, whether or not it's in the mastermind classes that I go to Facebook groups that I'm a part of, and I talk to agents or agents that are coming to me and joining our team, is really that they want to increase their business, so they need to go out and get leads. So, which we all do. Some do it very well, some don't do it that well, some pay a lot of money, some fortunately don't have to pay much money. Everybody's got their different styles. So I want to go over kind of the first preliminary part of that process and basically getting information from that lead. Let me back up. When I do say a lead, I mean somebody that's not part of your sphere, not one of your contacts already, obviously. So somebody that's a sign call or a website lead, a Zillow lead, or open houses. So that's things that I'm looking at right now. And basically what I see a lot of apprehension from is that agents are kind of afraid to get that information. They're afraid to ask that lead for their phone number, for their email address, what they're looking for, when are they looking to do it, all of that information. And the first thing I want to say is when you don't get that information, you just have a person that's going to be out there, and a lot of agents they don't want to be sales pitchy. They don't want to take in a hardcore sales approach. They don't want to be like car salesmen, and I get that. But at the same time, when you don't make it comfortable and you don't get that information, the likelihood of you translating that to a sale is ultra low. So there's definitely ways that you can find within your own personality and feel on how you can translate that from a lead to now a contact to a client. So when you don't get that information, just the likelihood of you actually translating it to real dollars is just low, because they're going to be out going to, if they reached out to you on your website, they reached out to 10 other agents because they looked at 10 other properties. They're not going out there looking for agents, they're out there going for properties. So they're probably doing the same thing that they did to you, to everybody else. While the one agent that gets their contact information gets through the steps that they need to be is probably likely to get the deal, and frankly, if you didn't, you're not. So at any rate, that's kind of what. Now, how do you actually get the info? What I want to back up on too all the time is that confidence. You need to basically be comfortable with your approach. It doesn't have to be pitchy. It doesn't have to say I'm going to spam the hell out of you if once I get your email. It basically just says, hey, here's my open house, please sign it. That's it. So when you get that information, it's the same thing on every single person. It just feels comfortable. They don't really necessarily feel like they have an option. So you're not being pushy. If they don't want to, let them go. That's fine. If they don't want to necessarily give information, then they're probably not going to work with you anyway. They're just out there for their own cause. So, and that's okay. But when somebody comes in the open house, I actually use an app called Open Pro on my iPad, and basically hand them in. Hey, welcome to my open house. Chad Ernest, Realty Executives, welcome in. Would you take care of my sign-in sheet? There's no further conversation. It's take care of that for me. So, and I would probably say 8 out of 10 do it. They won't necessarily fill out all my questions. It asks for your name, your phone number, where you saw the open house, are you working with an agent. They won't necessarily go through all that service, but for the most part, they're always doing name and phone number. So I'm getting where I need, basically. So then what do we do with that information? Well, obviously, you probably don't want to be pushy. That's what a lot of agents, everybody says, and you got your own style, but your contact needs to be personable. You need to reach out quickly and somewhat often. So I really don't have a problem with somebody going to an open house and then you reaching out the same day, and even express maybe a little bit of urgency. Obviously, it just depends on your conversation. So, and that's something that you can always work with personally. But so what you're going to do with it is make yourself available, make yourself a resource of knowledge. It doesn't have to be you're ready to buy, etc. So at any rate, so then what are you're going to keep that information. I use Infusionsoft, so all that information is going to go into our database. I'm going to tag and segment that lead so I know what they were looking for, where I saw them. I can run searches on how I met that person, what area of town I met that person. So if I get a new property that I want to send it out to a segment of people and be ultra specific, I can. For the most part, I've just got notes on what our conversation was, what they were looking for, because maybe they're not ready in a week, 2 weeks, a month. So then in 2 months, 3 months, I've got that. Remember that that conversation, I've got a reminder that I reach out and we talk about it. So, and there's it's a much easier conversion process when I already have that info versus, they're in your list. You call them back 6 months. Hey, we're at an open house. Can I help you? No, you can't. They already did something, or you now no longer have any connection with that person. So making those notes, keeping that database is seriously important, because frankly, when they're reaching out to you via, with the exception of maybe a Zillow, something like that, that's a little bit more of a reliable source. But if they're going to an open house, they're probably just looky-loos. They're 3 to 6 months out maybe. So, and if you start doing that on an ongoing basis, you put in 10 people, 10 people, 10 people, 10 people, and so on. Now all of a sudden your database has grown up to 300 people, 400 people. There's no way that you've got records on everybody unless you keep and maintain a database. So highly, highly recommended. So follow up for the next blogs. We'll go ahead and go through the conversion process on maybe some scripts that we can connect in, and we'll go from there. So any questions, you can always reach out to me directly, 602-740-2074. Always happy to help and to chat. Thanks.